intro music is provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com.
The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network and its website are those of the hosts, guests, and participants, and are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcasts, the management, other hosts, or advertisers of the network. The shows found on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network can, but do not necessarily, promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Now, John, cut that out. I keep telling you, not the best, not the worst, somewhere, well, number 78. That's what I was told. Anyway, good evening or morning, depending on your time zone. From the Pacific to the Atlantic to worldwide, you have me, Gary Anderson, on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. Tonight, you might want to get yourself maybe a hot cup of Java or a hot cocoa, or depending where you live, a nice iced tea. Because where I'm at the harbor, at the compound, it is beautiful, nice and hot. Feels like a nice summer day. Tonight, we got a very special guest talking about relics and the paranormal. Karen Banks, she'll be on right after this.
Please check out the Night Dreams Talk Radio website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Also, if you want to keep our show free of advertising, just hit the donate button. Give $1 or $2. Remember, all prior shows are always free to listen to. We at Night Dreams Talk Radio thank you for your support.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
Well, I hope everybody's had a great week, a work week. Here it is coming up on Saturday, and very shortly we're going to start the whole cycle over again. But what's going to be nice is weather's going to start improving. Now, there's some parts of the country yet I just read that got hit with snow and cold. Well, hopefully that'll change, unless we're going through earth changes. I want to do a shout out to James Krischbaum. He's a Saturday host. He's up on one of the apps saying hi to me. And we got Karen Banks out here, who's been a long-time listener, who's been into the paranormal and loves going out finding relics. Karen, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Well, how you doing tonight, kid?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm alive. That's more than I could say for the last couple of days, but I am doing really good today. You know, tomorrow,
I'm glad to hear that.
Tomorrow I got a big plan. I'm gonna get my Harley out. I'm good. You know, it's already full of gas. I'm gonna go out for about a 200-mile ride and then come back and watch, guess what? Sci-fi B movies the rest of the day.
That sounds awesome.
So I got to ask you a question. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what got you into, well, going out and looking for relics and stuff like that? And then we'll ask you why you got into the paranormal at one point in your life.
Actually, I've been into the paranormal since I was about 7 years old. When things first started happening, and I started having dreams and like prophetic dreams. My most memorable one was about my mother having a heart attack, and like 3 days later, she did.
And how old,
when I told her,
well, Karen, how old were you when you had that dream, and 3 days later she had that heart attack?
I was about 9.
Now, you know, I'm going to ask you a question here. When I was about 9 years old, I remember my dad was out in the backyard, and he was mowing the grass, and I was playing with a hole, you know, like the rake, and then you got the hole and all that stuff. And I tossed it up in the air. It hit him on the head, and then he had a heart attack. And, I didn't mean that to happen. Now, the doctors, assured me at the hospital, when he was at the hospital for 2 months, that's how bad it was. They assured me it wasn't from what I did. That didn't have nothing to do with it, but it was about time if he was going to have it by exerting himself on a hot day, pushing a heavy lawnmower. That's what did it. So, coincidental, I knocked him out for he didn't have to suffer so much.
Wow.
So I want to get back to you. I mean, here you were 9 years old. You had a dream about your mom having a heart attack. When she had it, did you feel guilty?
Yes, I did. In the dream itself, I dreamt I saw the silhouette of her, like in a sitting position, and up against a wall, and I saw a bright red dump truck come through her chest, through the wall, through her chest. And 3 days later, I came downstairs, and Dad had said that she had had a mild heart attack at her job, and when he had gone to pick her up for lunch, she was the only one in the store, and he found her sitting on the floor against the wall, having chest pains.
Oh, wow.
And, it terrified me. But I told her, I was like, I dreamt this. And she's like, what? I said, I dreamt this like 3 nights ago. I thought it was about me, but it was about her. And it wasn't the only dream I had that just the look from her. I quit telling her about them after the second one because she had this look of like she was afraid of me. And the second one that really scared her was I was away at private school, and I had a pet mouse, but I had to leave him at home because we weren't allowed to have pets. And I woke up from a dream in the middle of the night that something happened to him, and I ran out to the payphone and I called her. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and she answered the phone, and I didn't even say hi or anything. I said, "How's Valentino?" And she said, "How did you know?" And I'm like, "How did I know what? How is he?" And she said, "He died today, but I didn't know how to tell you, so I didn't call you." And I just hung up the phone and went back to bed. And then, like that weekend, my parents showed up at the dorm. I was like 2 states away, and my parents showed up at the dorm with a hamster in a cage, and they had arranged with the school for me to have the hamster in my room.
Oh wow, that was good of the school.
The look on my mom's face that's when I quit telling her about him. I couldn't take that look.
Well, have you had other experiences which you haven't told people about, like husbands, boyfriends in the past when you were dating? I mean, did you have any of these thoughts come to you about things that are going to happen to somebody?
I've always had these dreams and feelings that, like dread feelings. And I usually tell people, but sometimes I don't. Usually it's over the past few years, it's been strangers in like other countries and stuff. And I feel like a nutcase. It's like, do I say something? Don't I say something? So I started keeping a journal. I started writing them all down so that I wouldn't forget them. And if something did happen, I would have them written down and say, look, I dreamt this on such and such date. And it's just the looks you get from people. Sometimes it's just you don't want that look. You don't want them afraid of you.
They get afraid of you for 2 reasons. One, they think maybe you're a little strange. No offense to anybody out there that gets these. The other, they get actually scared because they don't want to know what's going to happen to them. I'll tell you a little story, fast one. Me and my friend, when we were like in 9th grade, I believe, we watched on TV. They used to show, the local station used to show like on Saturdays, old B movies, and they showed one about voodoo, and casting spells. I don't even know what the show was about anymore. But we had this one teacher, math teacher in junior high, we did not like. So me and my friend said, okay, well, there's a magic store up in White Center. Why don't we walk up to it and see if we can get something and, maybe cast a spell on this teacher. and Mr. Bender, and I'm sure he's not here anymore because I'm old, and that's years ago. If he is still here, I'm glad you're still alive, even if you're in a nursing home. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. But the thing is, we went in there and they had voodoo dolls. And, we didn't know anything. So we got home with it and we said, okay, well, my mom has sewing needles and knitting needles in the closet. So we started getting all these needles out and we were, casting spells, which we don't even know what we were saying. And I was sticking them into like the stomach and all this stuff, and my friend was too. The next day.
You gotta be careful what you play with.
That was on a Saturday. We go to school on Monday. And we have a substitute teacher, and Mr. Bender isn't there. And the substitute teacher said, "Oh no! Oh, he was taken on the weekend to the hospital. He had his appendix burst."
Oh my God!
So that's coincidental. And then I had this, like you had your dream about your mom having a heart attack. I had this dream about Mr. Bender. That was a couple months later, and I really hated this teacher. He hated me. And back in that time frame, his math class was in a portable. He would take me outside because I'll be honest with you. If you notice, I talk a lot. And I did that in the class, and he would take me outside and start punching me and telling me to shut up. That's old school. You know how many years ago that was. Anyway, I had this dream that he was coming to work, the school, and he ran off the road and went down to the football field. Now, the football field was about a 50-foot bank from the road down, to where the field was. And all of a sudden, one morning, the police are there, the paramedics are all there. We're all, going to school. And naturally, instead of going to class, everybody goes to see why all the police and the paramedics are there. He ran his car off the road, went up over the sidewalk and down that 50 feet with his car.
Oh my